Hello everyone, today we're going to be running a deck that I've ran for about a season and a half, and I have some incredible luck with it. This is the one that I actually grabbed my first Infinity avatar with last season when the Infinity Conquest opened up, so that is what I plan to do this season as well, is use this as one of the first decks that I use to go into that challenge once it opens back up. But that is going to be the Kitty Pryde, the Angela control deck. I dubbed this the Meta Breaker because it is so incredibly difficult to hard counter this deck, no matter what kind of cards you're running. A Cosmo can be kind of problematic, but otherwise you have some phenomenal reach. And the main idea is that you want to get initiative or power on the board early through your Kitty Pryde, your Angela, Daredevil, Nightcrawler, those sorts of cards, and then you want to lock down a lane on turn 5 with either Professor X or Spider-Man into a turn 6 counterplay, whether that be your Shang-Chi, your Enchantress, or even Gamora plus Kitty Pryde can give you some phenomenal reach as well. Now, there are some other alternative versions if you want to get a little bit spicy. So if you don't have Jeff, we have this exact same version, but it runs Polaris instead. It loses a little bit of its consistency, but it's still incredibly impactful. The idea or the core of the deck is still intact. Now, if you want to get even more spicy, we have a Silk control that I used whenever Silk was released, and it does really decently. It gives up some control for some higher power output. And then the other version is it gives up a little bit more of that early game consistency for a little bit more control on the late game. So you have your Legion and you have your Magneto as a way to pull some of the opponent's cards. Right now we're seeing a lot of 3 and 4 cost cards, so you can really stack and consolidate those while still pushing to win one of the other locations. But both of those give up some of your counter play measures, and so use those with a grain of salt depending on what you're seeing. I think this version, the freer to play version, is going to be the most accessible and probably the most consistent if you can get a good read on what your opponent is intending to do. So we're going to be jumping into a gold conquest today, you guys. I hope that you guys are enjoying it. I'm excited for the Infinity Gauntlet to open back up, but my first priority is going to be getting a gameplay with the newly released Mirage, and so stick around tomorrow to see that video. It should be pretty good. I think she's going to be a kind of versatile card, kind of like Jeff, but just not quite as versatile as Jeff is. So let's go ahead and jump in. Thank you guys as always for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. It would have stayed. And so we did have to show our hand a little bit there, but we were also able to secure and lock down game number 1. When I post a high Evo deck and then I get a whole bunch of complaints about, yeah, of course it's good, it's high Evo. I don't think high Evo is as broken as it once was. Like at one time, yeah, I think it was very, very strong. But I think with the current meta that we're in, I don't think that's the case so much. The Sunspot in the left lane could be offset by like a Spider-Man if we have more cards than they do in that left lane. Superflow is big for them, especially if they're doing like the Hulk version where they're really wanting to like lean in on just big impactful plays. And so we'll have to play that a little bit by ear. Let's do Angela into like a Daredevil and a Jeff next turn. And then we will have a read for a turn 5 lock. It's going to come a little bit late. If we get Professor X, we can always do Spider-Man into Professor X. But their Sunspot is going to be able to continue to soak and absorb that extra power, which is very scary in Nidavellir. Unless we can get more cards than they can. Ooh, wow. This is a lot of energy for this game, you guys. That is something. That is definitely something here, you guys. I'm going to go do Daredevil. Ooh, actually, no. Daredevil, Professor X. We'll throw Jeff into Nidavellir. We'll go ahead and snap into it. Now, I don't think they'll play into the Superflow. They might surprise me. They did skip last turn, but I don't think they'll play into the Superflow. And so depending on where they play, on turn 5, we of course have a Spider-Man lock to lean in on to try and get value. We also have Jeff that we can move over as that extra support in the Superflow if we need. And they do play for Project Pegasus with just a Thing. 9 energy, and you just use Thing. So your Sunspot absorbs an awful lot in that left lane. That is now within Shang-Chi range, which you know that we have. And so that also becomes a very big concern. It's well within Shang-Chi range. We don't need the added support in the Superflow. I almost think maybe no, we're going to play Miles this turn regardless. So we'll do Miles into the left lane. We have our Spider-Man to lock one of the locations. Maybe we lock the right lane next turn in case they do like a skip and soak. And they do have extra energy every single turn here. Unless we get Shang-Chi on this turn. That is Enchantress. I think most likely we Spider-Man lock the right lane. We just throw a Chavez plus moving a Jeff over there on the last turn of the game. They do play for the left lane with a Shang-Chi of their own. Wild, my friend. Let's go. Jeff is not a concern of being impacted over here. They are going to be locked here, and Spider-Man putting in work in this matchup. The only bad thing about this deck is that because it's so control heavy, unless the opponent is playing very aggressively, you're going to get a lot of 2-cube games, which is fine. And they're very consistent 2-cube games. It makes it very tough on the opponent. They have to play, multiple rounds at the top of their game to find ways to win. But it's taxing. It is very taxing. And a very grueling process. So we're going to go ahead and do a double play on the right, and we should see the retreat come down. Wait, what? What? Kaiser, what are you doing? What are you doing? Maybe they quit? It was the puppy cam. They were distracted by the puppy cam. Okay, we got 4 when we should have only gotten 2. We have the Kitty Pryde, the Angela early. It's enough for me to snap into. That gives us a really big left lane. We have both of our counter components in the Shang-Chi and the Enchantress, and so I think Shang-Chi may put in work for us over the game, and then maybe we draw into a Spider-Man or Professor X, some of those lock components, but we have a very strong early game already in play. You think Kaiser's frustrated? I mean, they're running a fine deck. It's just it loses to a little bit of control, which is tough to fight against a lot of times. Let's go Angela, and then next turn we'll go Jeff and Kitty Pryde. It's not always a priority with this deck to do Kitty Pryde every single turn, especially with only giving +1 power. A lot of times it's going to be a little bit better to set up an Angela play. Oh my goodness. I like Jeff in Stark Tower, but I like Jeff in Bar Sinister more. Not only does that give us a lot of flexibility in being able to find a lockdown, that also gives us just flexibility in Bar Sinister, so there's no way they can do anything super sneaky. So we can always lean into like a Professor X over there and then move out enough cards depending on what we have. And then if they play after it locks down, the Jeff can be played here, but it won't duplicate because only the first one can be played there. Bar Sinister won't be able to duplicate it from that point. All right, let's do Kitty Pryde. We do have both Professor X and Spider-Man for turn 5. Okay, She-Hulk and Wakanda is big. I think we have to do something like this, right? It's either this or we just go Spider-Man. We have initiative. Let's go Professor X. Just in case they do play into Bar Sinister this turn, Professor X will limit their play in Bar Sinister to 1. And so that's our read. That's what we're going to go with. The Jeff in the left lane will get an extra +2. It's not huge. Hazmat is interesting here. So just the Hazmat play. So they soak quite a bit, but not a huge amount at the same time. I think we do something like this. We hedge our bets. Maybe even this. I don't know why, but this is feeling right. I don't know if they have a Jeff in their version. The Kitty Pryde plus Miles in this left lane will give us quite a bit of benefit. And then we get a little bit of reach in Wakanda. So they're going to have to split the difference to be able to find a way to win. But we will see from there. Wakanda helped protect their She-Hulk. They probably have a Luke Cage to bounce back their cards, right? The Abomination is big in Wakanda. That leaves a Hulk smash in the left lane. And they're able to hold that one down by a mere 1 point of value. Oh my gosh, that was huge. Had we had one additional card over here, had we gotten just a little bit more value, oh, that's gut-wrenching. The Hazmat play was beautiful to be able to get that free Abomination so that they could do both Abomination and Hulk on the last turn. Beautiful. Beautifully executed. World Ship is supposed to be like super rare, right? What happened? I think this is 2 days in a row that I have seen World Ship. So I think we do Angela. Maybe we don't do Angela. No, we'll do Angela. We'll do Daredevil. Maybe we set up for a Gamora play. We have the Spider-Man, which is beautiful. So let's set up a Daredevil into a Spider-Man and a Shang-Chi on 6. We feel fairly confident. I don't think they're going to be able to stop us. I don't think they have any locational restrictions. or control mechanisms, while we have very heavy on the control for the locations. And since there's only one, I think we do benefit there. But the Sunspot will be able to continue to grow. And so just a Shang-Chi may not be a huge amount of power. They could skip here into a She-Hulk, but we do have Shang-Chi coming down, so we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. She-Hulk will be fodder for the Shang-Chi, depending on how much they play here. I don't know. A little sketchy. A lot of bit sketchy. Hopefully they skip here into a 9-power Sunspot. Be the dream. No, just the Cyclops. Oof. Do we win this one? Cyclops is 3, Sunspot goes up to 6. I think we lose this one after the soak. Gamora and then Chavez is not going to outpower a potential Hulk play. So I think we have to go with the lock and then see from there, but we're going to get doubly afflicted by Cyclops. The Sunspot is awful. Ugh. This is brutal. We have the 9-power coming down. Nothing within Shang-Chi range. So this goes 9, 10, 11. Brings us to 19. This goes up to 6, so 18. The Cyclops gives them just enough extra reach to come over the top of what we have here. So we are going to jet out for the 2. Unfortunately, that brings us back down even or in line. We gotta get a break. I thought we were going to be great there, but they played that one well. The Sunspot was phenomenal reach and phenomenal value over time. The Nightcrawler, Daredevil, Professor X. We have some good cards here. It is the high stakes rounds. So if it goes all the way through, this could be the very last match or the very last round. Warrior Falls is going to be a great or prime target for our Professor X. Let's go Daredevil on the left. I don't think we move a card to enable... I guess we could have done Miles Morales plus Jeff on turn 3. Could have been a good initiative grabber. Nova Roma gives us additional cards. We have to be wary of the Hazmat for sure. I'm going to go ahead and do this. We can do the Miles Morales on 4. We get the Daredevil read on 5. Their Sunspot in that right lane is worrisome, but we can move everything that we own out of that location. So Kitty Pryde, Miles actually is a little bit scary. I think we go Miles into Warrior Falls just to throw them off. Maybe we don't end up using our Professor X there, but also maybe we do. And so, ooh, they play a card into Warrior Falls this turn as well. What do they end up? Oh, the She-Hulk is unfortunate. That is immediately regretful. So the thing in the left lane is 4. They float with 1. Sunspot only grows a little bit. What if we did this? They steal initiative that way. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, on the last turn, we do something like Shang-Chi and Kitty Pryde somewhere else. So like Shang-Chi in mid, and then Kitty Pryde maybe over here to give that additional bump. They could have a Doctor Doom, which would be very scary. It would give them additional 4 reach. And they may also play this one heads up and play something like a Cyclops into mid this turn. So it all comes down to how they play this one. And I'm not liking the feels for this one, honestly. Do they float in that right lane? Or do they play something mid-range here? Okay. Hazmat's fine. We take out mid. We win Warriors Falls with the Shang-Chi. And then they float, but it is not enough. We are able to hold that one down. Oh my gosh. All right, next up we have Doc Kama. They snapped on us like right away. I mean, we do have a lot of our good early game cards, but I'm not going to snap back. We're not going to play it hastily. And you puppy cam enjoyers, you eat it in. You soak it up. You have a spotlight video for the puppy cam this time around. Let's do. Do we do Angela? Angela and cloning vats becomes kind of problematic at times. But the more times we can actually play in there, the better. So maybe, I don't know. We'll do at least one Angela over there. while we get a sense for what kind of deck they're running. Zabu. What kind of Zabu deck are they running? We do have one of our locational control mechanisms now. Let's do Kitty Pride. And then we'll do an Angela into mid. That way we can start kind of splitting our focus between the Kitty Prides and the 2 Angelas. That's what we're hoping for. That double Zabu is treacherous, though. Okay, so we need to get Daredevil on the board. And so then if we double up on this Kitty Pride, let's see. And so this is right now 5, 6, 7. And so we need to play another one into mid to make sure we're not going to draw, but just to make sure that all of our kitties come back into our hand and we can just continue to get that value. The third Zabu is wild, you guys. I anticipate... Oh, and we're not allowing ourselves to draw, so the Hawk becomes something of such a big value here. Oof, okay. Daredevil, do your stuff. Let us know how badly we messed up. That is an awful lot of cards. That is a Hawk. That is a Super Scroll. And a Zabu and an Iron Lad. Oh my god. The triple Zabu is new meta. Next meta, you guys. Oh. Heartbreaking. They will have another Hawk. So something here is... I just... For the boosters, we're going to end this turn, but then we're going to retreat because we didn't allow ourselves to draw into those counter components. Very unfortunate. .com, I now see why you snapped. Rightfully so. You were right to do your snap. Wait, is there a world where we win this one? Strange Academy came in clutch from the Iron Lad. Oh my gosh. Do we get enough reach, right? They can't play. No way. This is an extra 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's all we need, right? Just right there? No way. That's it. That's all we need. Maybe they'll stick this one out. We're not going to snap back, but oh my gosh. The Iron Lad into Scarlet Witch, I imagine, was such a stab in the back that we get 4 early that we did not deserve. But I'm also not sure why they didn't retreat. Maybe at that point there was a little bit of like I have so much power on the board and this was the perfect setup that I'm gonna stay regardless, and we will capitalize on that where we can. That is 4 early, and I got a little too excited. We disturbed the puppy for a second. All right, Daredevil. We have the Miles Morales. Sakaar could pull into our Professor X, and they snap off the jump again. So maybe they're a little bit frustrated. If they're a little bit frustrated, I understand. Okay, we get Daredevil. I would have rather got something like Miles or Professor X, but at least it's not the Shang-Chi. The Shang-Chi would have been like the worst of the pulls there. So they do have Zabu on 2, which is such good value again. Now, if we go Professor X, a Super Scroll of theirs will copy the Professor X, so we have to be mindful of that interaction. Let's go Nightcrawler. Ooh, they have the Rock Slide again. Do they have the perfect setup again? Oh, that's tough. That's a tough one. Let's do just Jeff this turn. I'm going to try and sneak a Professor X into Sakaar, I think. We're not going to sneak a Professor X into Sakaar, I don't think. That is not what's going to happen here. Maybe we sneak a Professor X into New York. New York, New York. I guess we don't need to sneak anything. We have Daredevil. Ooh, beautiful. The Sarah comes down, but they are only going to have 2 spaces to play. Our Jeff is going to be bigger than their Jeff. But I still think maybe we move one of our cards. Maybe we do this instead. We move the Nightcrawler over. We'll move Jeff into New York. That's going to be the only place that we want to move it. They'll have initiative going into this last turn. With the movement, we can do a Shang-Chi and a Miles. Actually, I don't know if that's perfect. A Gamora plus a Miles, that's not fantastic either. I don't know. We'll see. They have the Sarah, so they have a double reduction, the Zabu and the Sarah coming down. We'll see. We'll see if we're able to hold this one down. Let's move our Jeff. According to plan, let's move our Jeff just in case they move theirs. And then it comes down to a gut read of, do we Shang-Chi or do we Gamora? I think we Shang-Chi. There's not a world where they don't fight for Stark Tower, right? This is for a big 6-cuber. Hawk in the left lane, beautiful. Iron Man in the mid. Ooh, wow, that could have been treacherous. And then the Shang-Chi in the left lane. Beautiful value. Do we outpower what was already there, though? I don't actually know. Oh, we don't. Oh, my God. We didn't calculate what was already there. That was a silly stay. We could have kept them here knowing that Jeff was only going to be 3. We already had 3, so all we had to do was move 1 Jeff over. We could have let Nightcrawler be an extra +2. We could have won that one, you guys. We're going to go back to focus cam. There we go. Now we're back. That's so unfortunate because we had the means to win. There was no reason to move the both of them that turn. We could have just moved the Jeff or just moved the Nightcrawler over to the right, leaving the Jeff as that flexibility point. I am disappointed with myself. All right. So we know they have a lot of ongoings. Maybe there's a point where we can get an Enchantress and can do some good there. We're down. We're not out, but we are down for sure. Kitty Pryde would be beautiful in Shuri's lab, but we do not have that on hand. We do have Jeff, which is going to be 6 power that we can maneuver. Warrior Falls is also kind of fun. That is the last card, according to our deck tracker. That is the last card in their deck. We now know the entirety of what they have. We don't have a lockdown card just yet, but we do have the Daredevil read for turn 5. Iron Lad is massive in this left lane. Maybe we just go Shang-Chi over there. That Iron Man is huge. The Iron Man, Iron Lad combo is nasty big. Enchantress is actually really, really good for us here. Shang-Chi on 1 turn, Enchantress on the next. We can do Miles Morales alongside of it. What do they go with over here? Okay, the Rock Slide, perfectly fine. Something like this, I'm thinking. That clears out Warrior's Fall. It gives us the lead here. But this becomes 10 power in this right lane. Do we maybe just Enchantress the left lane instead? Enchantress the left lane. Next turn when we do a Miles Morales over there, that'll bring this up to 6. And so they'll both be 12. Unless they do something taller. That saves our Shang-Chi for this lane. I don't know which is better, but I am going to go with the Shang-Chi. We changed our mind. Something in mid, like a big card in mid, could be kind of scary. And we will have initiative on this last turn. Okay, we get the retreat. Since we're down, we're sweating this one. We're sweating this one, you guys. It is a very close. They have 5 bars, we have 4. Just an unfortunate loss earlier. But we're back to me cam, away from the puppy cam. We're in full focus mode. Limbo. With Scarlet Witch, they can always yank that away on turn 6. So we have to be cautious of that potential. We want to make sure that however we play, we're in a state where we're okay if the game ends on 6, regardless. Which is kind of a bad place to be in. It's harder to play that way, but it's going to be a necessity. Let's go Kitty Pryde. We have, if we can maybe do a Spider-Man into a Professor X lock, so a 5 and then a 6. A Teal'c is going to shuffle all of our cards. So either Angela or in Kitty Pryde, or Daredevil and Kitty Pryde. Let's go Angela and Kitty Pryde. Just get the pure value out, and then we'll go from there. So they didn't play anything on 1 or 2, so we are going to go ahead and snap into it on them. Just because their hand is obviously very large, very stacked. Ooh, Scarlet Witch already comes down, so they're not going to change the Limbo location. We can rest assured, breathe a little bit easier, that Limbo will remain intact. And so now they're going to have to hope for those big cards, but without having a Zabu, without having those rocks early, we get a little bit more benefit. And we do draw right back into Daredevil, which is a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. I think we go Daredevil and then Kitty Pryde in the right. We're just going to continue to buff that Angela lane. We know that they do have a Killmonger, so we have to watch out about priority, but most of the time we can manage it pretty decently with the Kitty Pryde jumping back into our hand every time. Even though we have initiative here, We don't have to worry about it so much because we do have the Daredevil Reed. So the Sarah comes down. We have initiative, so unfortunately, that's not going to be huge. I think we'll do something like this. It's either that or we go ahead and drop an Enchantress, but I want to save that for a potential Hawk play. And so we'll go ahead and do the Miles. We'll do the Kitty Pryde. Next turn, we have the Spider-Man to do a lock into a counter component. So I think we may be okay here. As long as they steal initiative in Central Park this turn, we might be all right. It really depends on where they play. I don't think we're going to do Kitty Pryde because I am afraid that they have a Killmonger. We can do Spider-Man in the right. We have the Shang-Chi and Enchantress for our other lanes, but maybe that's a little bit too obvious. Maybe we Spider-Man in Limbo. Spider-Man in Limbo and let it flow. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. They do spread out their cards, 1, 1, and 1, depending on where the Killmonger comes down, but we are a little bit sneakier than that. We didn't drop our Kitty Pryde this time around. They have the Super Scroll in the left lane, not going to be phenomenal for them. They are going to grab initiative on us in mid and right lane, and this becomes a Hawk, which is going to become destroyed. Now, my big hesitation here is they have a Jeff. They have Sir Jeffrey that they can play. So they could do a Hawk and Jeff, giving them a lot of leeway. So I think we do our Kitty Pryde in the left lane. They have initiative, so Shang-Chi should clear us here. That's our read and our sticking to it. Jeff in the left, beautiful read with the Kitty Pryde coming down in that left lane. We save the right lane. Our Kitty Pryde gives us the left lane, and very specific read knowing that they had the Jeff in play, but that brings them down to 1. And so we will go into round number 5. We are up again. It will take them 2 matches in a row to be able to best us now, and we're feeling a little bit easier as a result. We have Kitty Pryde starting out, which also does not help how good we're feeling about this. Asgard, if we can win Asgard, beautiful. It becomes very, very beautiful because we draw additional cards, making their Hawk much less impactful. And they do rightfully change the Asgard location with Scarlet Witch. And so let's see, Shadowland comes up. Not huge for them, not huge for us. We don't have our Angela for that big amount of power. We do have Miles. So we can always maybe move Miles next turn if we don't get a lock component. Otherwise, we're looking at probably not being able to drop him, even if he's reduced, because we'll probably go Gamora plus Miles, but maybe we go Shang-Chi or an Enchantress plus Miles and Kitty Pryde on the last turn as a possible playline as well. Oh my gosh. These are some awful cards. There's some cards for sure. I don't think we even dropped the Nightcrawler yet. No, we're going to save the Nightcrawler. Okay, they get Super Scroll. So we don't have any ongoings besides Professor X. So if we drop a Professor X, then they will, of course, copy that. But otherwise, it's just a 2 power. Speaking of Professor X, a Daredevil Reed here would make me feel much more comfortable. But we don't have that. So, how do we feel about a gamble? Are we feeling particularly lucky today? I almost want to lock the left lane instead with our Jeff in play. This is super risky, right? We're going to do it. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, that makes the rest of this game much more easier to navigate. Oh my goodness. And we moved the Jeff ahead of time. I know that you may have noticed I moved Jeff the same turn I played Professor X. You can still move Jeff into the Professor X lane, but I wanted to enable the Miles Morales for this game. That's why I moved him when I did. We don't have initiatives here, so with 3 cards in our deck, I almost want to go Enchantress instead of something big, because the only thing that they can go that's above 9 is a Hawk, and right now that's only at a 6. So an Enchantress plus a Miles. It's either that or we do Gamora plus Kitty Pryde. But I do like the idea of being able to take out a potential Iron Man. And this lane is locked in. I know it doesn't show it, but with the Super Scroll, it is locked in. Nobody can play there. So everything has to be played into Titan this turn. Okay, so the Jeff moves over. What did they play? The Killmonger. Okay, uneventful, unimpactful, and the Iron Man. Beautiful Enchantress read coming down here as well. And is it enough? I think it's enough for us to win. That brings them down to 10. We do overcome the 10 power. So that one took another very specific read of knowing what their deck's capabilities were. And so we will grab the win against Doc Kama. And so we are going to have a hybrid cam now. Ooh, next up we're going against Tuesday. We're going to have a hybrid cam. We have the puppy in the background. And then we also have the laundry basket. I'm going to be kind of in between the two. So this is a variety. This is a variety video. Shuri's Lab is the first location. And with Kitty Pryde, beautiful. Normally on turn 1, Kitty Pryde wouldn't have gotten value before with the old Kitty Pryde. But now that she has a 2 base, we are going to be able to double her every single turn. And just get some incredible reach with that card. We have the Angela, the Jeff already as well. Which is why we warranted, even though we don't know what the opponent has, which is why I think it warranted us being able to do a turn 1 snap. They haven't played anything. We do have our Shang-Chi, so I think we avoid the Gamma Lab location. Ugh. They have initiative here, so maybe we just do Kitty Pryde one more time. We don't push our luck too much, and we feel out what they drop. Okay, the Jeff in Shuri's Lab is big, and they also avoid the Gamma Lab trap. A lot of times, if you don't know the opponent's deck, it can be so deceiving. The 12, 24, 36 power in Gamma Lab can be huge, but one Shang-Chi can all of a sudden take that lane that you were very heavily winning and turn it into a very heavy loss. So they did play the Jeff, and so they have initiative this turn. Even though it's a tie, we can tell they have initiative by their name. It's glowing. The border is glowing just a little bit more than ours. So we're going to go ahead and double our Kitty Pryde one more time. Why not? We don't have Daredevil. Daredevil would make this a surefire win. We don't have Daredevil, but maybe we can go with Professor X on the left. It really depends on what they drop here. Hawk is big. We have Enchantress to counteract it. And so they're going to continue to have initiative every single turn. Every single turn here. Do we do a Professor X lock in Shuri's Lab? If we lose it, it's not the end of the world. If we lose the battle, it's not the end of the world because we have a 40-something power Kitty Pryde to go into Eternity range, and then either an Enchantress or Shang-Chi plus a 6-power Jeff to go into Gamma Lab. It's either that or we do a Hail Mary Professor X into Eternity range, which I think is probably better suited for our capabilities. Let's go with it. Whoa, they go into the right lane with an Iron Lad? You mad lad, which hits a Spider Ham. We are going to lock down Eternity range. We do grab initiative here, though. So the Spider Ham, ooh. Spider Ham is a little bit interesting, right? Do they have a Killmonger? Us grabbing initiative there was really bad. Professor X in the left lane may have been the way to go about it. They have a Killmonger. Our 47 Kitty Pryde is just gone. This brings us to a deficit of 1. Yeesh. I think we're going to split them. If they do a Killmonger, the 14-power pig may be enough to swing that location. And of course, we have to move Jeff into Eternity range just in case they try to outpower us there. So they do a double drop in the left lane. What is it? Killmonger and something else? The 47 power, the Killmonger. Okay. And then another 3-cost card. Hopefully not going to be more than our 18 total, the Luke Cage. Not going to do it. By playing heads up, we were able to take a potentially really bad positioning and hold it out. That is 4 early, and that is what you like to see. Going up early gives you that kind of encouragement for the rest of it to take a few more risks from time to time. Ooh, they have a Legion. So we're going against the mighty Legion deck himself. We have to be on the lookout for like bad locations. All right, we're gonna do Daredevil. Next turn, we probably cycle the Angela, but I want to do Daredevil so that we can know if we get a guaranteed Professor X lock. We don't know what card they got from us. Ooh, the Rock Slide rotation there was huge. We also don't really want to rotate into Shang-Chi or an Enchantress, so maybe we don't rotate the Angela. On turn 5, all cards are going to have to be played into the Avengers compound. So what if we positioned ourselves in a way that we wanted to play over there? Angela, Miles, and then Professor X. Because if they have our Spider-Man, then it's not a huge deal. They have the Spider-Man, but we have the full lock in the Professor X. All right, let's go Miles Morales. We're intending to do Professor X over there on turn 5. When they probably do, oh, maybe a Legion? We'll see. The Angela. That's our Angela, right? From the Daily Bugle? So they don't have Professor X. Interesting. We have Jeff if that lane needs a little bit more of a boost. But we don't have any of our like counter or destroy style cards. All right. Not the play we wanted. Not the play we came into this for. But we're going to see. The Shang-Chi is unfortunate. I was hoping I could pull Chavez out of the mix. And then we could get maybe lucky with something something else. But no, we don't. That's unfortunate. So the ham hits our Professor X. And that is where the dream dies, you guys. That is where the meme dream dies. They can move the Jeff. Nah. Nah, you can have your 2. You can have your 2, but you cannot have 4. All right, we have the Kitty Pryde, we have the Angela, we have the Daredevil for the Reed, and I think we have some really good chances here to hold this one down. And so we may snap, depending on if we get one of our lock components. Maybe we just go ahead and snap early. Gamora will protect us if they use Spider-Ham. So actually, I think we're going to go ahead and do Angela. Go ahead and snap. If they use Spider-Ham, that's going to hit our Gamora, which is perfect. That saves room for us drawing into Spider-Man, Professor X, those other key resources. Spider-Ham, okay. I mean, you never want it to hit your Gamora, but if it does, it's fine. It's not as big of a deal as some other cards. The Nexus is wild here. Such a huge location for power, for energy, for all of that. And if we can get them with a Spider-Man lock, a Professor X lock, this becomes really difficult for them to win. Now, a Legion, we can't overcommit to the Nexus because of the Legion. I know it's not showing in the deck tracker, but we know that it's in their deck from Daily Bugle. And so we do Kitty Pryde, we do a Daredevil, we do a Jeff move, and we do a Nightcrawler. We're just going to bombard the Nexus lane. And even though it looks like we're going super heavy there, we do have ways to pivot out eventually. We didn't think about the Killmonger. They could have a Killmonger and they wipe out our Kitty Pryde and our Nightcrawler now. But it has done some substantial work on the Angela, so we'll see. And it hits the Hawk again. My goodness, mine never hits Hawk. Never. Absolutely never does mine end up hitting Hawk. Eesh, okay. So the Daredevil actually gives us a lot of protection against the Legion play. And they snapped. Curious. Curiouser and curiouser. I wonder where they play for. If they play for the Forge and not the Nexus, we know that Legion is going to come down. The Shang-Chi. Don't let it be the Shang-Chi. All right. That clears out so much of our value in that lane. It's unfortunate. We don't have a Shang-Chi either. If we did, this is fine. We take out the Iron Lad, we're perfectly fine. And Enchantress, also relatively fine. Do they have their Legion? Would be the biggest question. Because this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No way we beat this lane. Nope. Take my 2. Take my 2 and go. It's very tough to play around. The Nexus again. Oh, what is going on? That's kind of where Legion shines, though. In all honesty, is those locations that are typically all-in locations. So Altar of Death, the Space Throne, the Nexus, all kinds of just insane value that you get out of him in those lanes, unfortunately. The Lemuria makes our cards not reveal. They did play a second card into what is Death's Domain. We draw into the rock from their Korg. Also very unfortunate. Wait. Oh, that's so unfortunate for the Death's Domain because Lemuria stopped the Zabu from revealing. I mean, we'll take it. We'll take it. We will for sure take it. What if we did this just for giggles? Did this for giggles. Next turn we do something like a Professor X in Death's Domain into something like a Gamora in the Nexus, so that if they do Legion somewhere else, we win Death's Domain and the Nexus. So we have to kind of keep that in mind as we're navigating our turn 5 and turn 6 plays. Rock Slide is very big though, unfortunately. They do have initiative. We do have Shang-Chi, but we threw a rock in the left lane, which was not great. Definitely not great for us. They also have Jeff that can maneuver into Death's Domain and pivot as needed. So Legion comes down. Okay. So this is going to go from left to right, calculating power. So it's 13 in the Nexus is what they have. If we do Professor X, something like 12. But it comes down to us being able to hit a Gamora, I think. This is wild. I'm going to do the Professor X so that nobody else can play in this left lane. But the Nexus tripling is so wild. How many rocks do we have? 6, so it's a 12 power play. I don't think it's worth it, unfortunately. Because we could match them, but then, I don't know. Becomes too awkward. I don't think they have a great Ender either, but I think ours was worse. We are taking a beating from Tuesday. He's going to beat us all the way into next Tuesday. White Hot Room is a little bit tough for us to get all of our cards into ahead of time. So Angel is decent, but we don't have our Nightcrawler, Daredevil, those really cheap ones that remain on the board. Doesn't mean we won't get them. They have some cheap cards, but I think it's a race at this point. A race to see who can fill it up the first. Wow, Dream Dimension is going to be a tough one. We don't have any of our early enablers. Oh, this is not the hands you want to see for this type of deck and this type of location. Not what you want to see at all. Spider-Ham, the Korg. If they snap at any point, we're backing out. Because this is a series of unfortunate events, yeah. They'll have extra energy every turn. It's not worth it. We go down to 3. We're playing it patiently. We're not getting frustrated, but it's just we're taking a beating, awfully big beating. They are definitely beating us all the way into next Tuesday. We'll see if we can pose a comeback. Maybe not. Oh my gosh. World ship. So it is what it is, right? I'm gonna stick it out. The Korg. We have Shang-Chi, so if they get a Hawk down. We also have our Gamora, which is decent value. Old Jeffrey, is it worth it to play him now? Nah, we're just going to wait. Kitty Pryde, though. Never hurts to play Kitty Pryde. Maybe we do Jeff and then Kitty Pryde. Because we're getting towards the end game. I would ideally get a Spider-Man, but we'll see. The Killmonger is beautiful as a way to clear up that Korg that they threw on the board. Beautiful, beautiful play. And there's the rock that they sent us, begrudgingly. One they sent us, begrudgingly. They do have Shang-Chi, so we have to watch out for... otherwise, we could do something like Gamora on 5, potentially. We have to watch out for that because they do have the Shang-Chi that they can leverage. Now, I don't think they have a lane control mechanic. I don't think they're going to have a Spider-Man or Professor X. So top decking a Spider-Man here would be the most beautiful thing that we do not make happen. All right, the Kitty Pryde, and then on the last turn, it comes down to a read between Shang-Chi, Enchantress, and then the Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler. This is the best we can do. That's all I got, you guys. That's all I can give. I guess we could have done Enchantress this turn as a way to kind of bait them, and then we have a little bit more power in the Shang-Chi. It is what it is. They're going good raw value, unfortunately. Do they play around us playing a counter to their Hawk? Super big mind games. So Legion, their biggest base power, other than the Hawk, is going to bring them up to 21. 7 here, 12 here would bring us up to 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. So that wouldn't even beat a Legion. All right. Oh, and this is where we lose. We're going to lock this one in. I don't think it's going to work. But I also don't think the 20 power from Gamora would work if they have a Legion here, which is what I think they... Oh, no. If the Iron Lad now hits the Hawk, it does. Ah, man, the Shang-Chi could have been what won that for us. And we had the means to do it. We could have tied. We could have pushed the Shang-Chi. Super weird scenario, but the Shang-Chi could have done that. That is unfortunate. Not the way that I want to end one of these. But the Legion and just the overall disruption and power stats that they were providing ended up being a little bit more than we were able to handle this time around. A couple of bad draws, a couple of bad calls. We are going to end on a loss, unfortunately. Every once in a while, it does happen. That is going to happen in the Infinity Conquest, Infinity Gauntlets. Just get ready for it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the puppy cam. Tuesday played this impeccably. We're going to go ahead and end the video here. If you guys liked it, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Thank you guys as always. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.